Welcome back to this solo playthrough of the Bismarck scenario from Atlantic Chase, and we will just jump right back into the action. So the Germans now have the initiative, so again, we roll for weather. The weather does not change, so airstrikes are now definitely a thing, and we're going to kind of continue what we were doing last time. We're going to lay down another trajectory. This is all feeling very dangerous right about now. I'm operating in such close quarters with this British, trajectory that has two large capital ships in it, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. So now we're going to attempt again a naval search against this trajectory. So, but this time we've only got a 7, so we're going to be rolling on the 7 column. Which is here. Now, this is still not a particularly great potential result, but I think we got what we needed, which is a 10. So we get a contact and we turn it into a station. So we put a contact marker down there, and we are going to turn that convoy right there into a station. Now, we are also going to time lapse ourselves, so that is going to also turn us into a station. So this becomes a pretty momentous roll right here, because if we can maintain the initiative, then we'll get to attack this. If not, it could pass over to the British, and who knows what happens. Now, I will say we do have the Germans do have Lutyens as a leader. And his ability is that I am allowed to just seize the initiative. So I could not make this roll, but I think I'm going to chance it. We'll see if I regret that in about a second. I do not regret that. So the tally marker goes up by 1, and the Germans maintain the initiative. So now we're going to attempt to engage this convoy. And this should be pretty easy because we are on the 0 table. 2 stations sitting there together. We're going to be getting a +4 because we have a contact marker, and this station is very slow because it's got a convoy in it. So we're going to get a +4 on this, and pretty much all these results, even the close result, we are faster than this convoy. So even that results in a battle. So we'll roll here. Yeah, well, we got surprise. So that's a phenomenal result. So we're going to now move over to the battle board. So we've moved over to the battle board, and the Rodney and the convoy are in the near zone without smoke because this battle came about as a result of a surprise. And we're going to start with the Bismarck, and we're going to be targeting the Rodney and see if we can maybe damage the Rodney to take it out of the game. So the Bismarck has got a +3, 2 from its gunnery and 1 because the Rodney is slow. Oh. And with that result, we get 2 hits on the Rodney, which is actually going to flip it to its damage side, which is precisely what we wanted. So with the Rodney damaged, and I'm actually going to come over here, and I'm going to take my, well, let's actually leave it just in case. Well, I'm going to take my victory point for damaging the Rodney. The Prince Eugen is going to shift gears and target the convoy instead. It's never going to get 2 hits on the Rodney. So it's going to target the convoy instead. So the Prince Eugen will be firing. It will be getting a +2. It has no gunnery value or no gunnery modifier, but this target is very slow. So it's going to be targeting this convoy. So with a 9, that is going to be 1 more hit on this convoy. Now this convoy, so he gets 1 hit on the convoy, and I'm moving that because that's my reminder to take those victory points afterwards. Now the Rodney does get to fire back. But because I've damaged it, and because this was a surprise attack, I apply my German results first and then do the British attack. So because of this, he has got a gunnery of 0 as opposed to 2 had he stayed on that side. So this is just a straight roll against the Bismarck with no modifiers. Bismarck is medium, and he has no modifiers. Oof. He just barely misses the Bismarck. So with that, we move into we do the maneuver phase. Now, because the Rodney is damaged, the convoy disperses. And both the Rodney and the convoy move themselves into the far zone. They cannot make smoke. Damaged ships and convoys cannot make smoke. So we are going to pursue them by moving here, and that's mostly just to keep rolling only to keep rolling 2 dice on this. I could stay far, which would give the Rodney less chance of a lucky hit on the Bismarck, but I'm gonna live dangerously here. So the after the maneuver phase, there's the breakaway. So there's -1, it's basically an even roll. It's kind of the same as we've seen in the previous combat, where it's -1 because I'm in the near zone, -1 because I'm faster, but +2 because all of the British ships are in the far zone. So he's going to attempt to break away, which he will do on a 9+. He does not break away. So now we are going to have yet another combat. So the tempting as it might be to put the Rodney down, I'm going to focus on getting victory points, because what I'm hoping to do is maybe get enough victory points here to start moving myself towards the end game to get out of this. So the most the Bismarck can do on a dispersed convoy, if you remember, is 1 hit, but he has got a +4 to this roll. So with a 6, that's a 10. So that's 1 more hit on a convoy for me. And the Prince Eugen will do the same. He only has a +2. But he also gets a hit on the convoy. Very good, Prince Eugen. Now the Rodney is going to fire back at the Bismarck, but not get a hit. Now, maybe I should have considered firing there, but I figured in this, generally speaking, we're going to want to target the Bismarck. So, there's no point in, so we're under the maneuver zone. That's round 2. So no point in moving them into the close zone. So once again, these 2 ships are going to attempt to break away. And this time they succeed in breaking away. So we've moved everybody off the battle board, and now we attempt to vie for initiative. Again, because it's an engage action, we vie for initiative. The British do have a +1 on this roll, but the Germans maintain initiative. So you can guess what we're about to do. We're going to go back to the engage table, and we're going to be rolling again on the engage table and hopefully setting up this battle again. So we're on the 0 column, +4. So again, we're going to be up here getting a surprise battle. So I'm going to get that back onto the battle board, and then we'll run the battle. So at this stage, it is extremely tempting to attempt to sink the Rodney. I would have a +4 on this roll with the Bismarck, and I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. So we get a 12, so that is only 1 hit on the Rodney. Only. But the Prince Eugen will repeat that. The Prince Eugen will repeat that with a +2. So basically, I'm looking for a 7 or above here, and I will sink the Rodney. But no love. So now the Rodney is going to return fire against the Bismarck. And the Rodney hits the Bismarck. So the Bismarck now has 1 hit on it. Not great, but at least he's not damaged yet. So again, we are going to maneuver. Kind of the same as we did last time. It's the same basic concept. And then the Rodney and the convoy are going to make their attempt to break away unsuccessfully. So I'm going to continue to target the Rodney. I really would like to sink the Rodney here. So the Bismarck again is firing with a +4. And so the Rodney is going to be sunk. So that is going to be 2 hits on the Rodney, so that will sink it. The Prince Eugen is going to fire at the convoy instead with a +2. And he gets a 12, so that's 1 hit on the convoy. And then the Rodney is going to fire at the Bismarck again. This could damage the Bismarck. Whew. And just misses damaging the Bismarck. So the Rodney is removed from the game. So that's an additional 2 victory points. It's 3 victory points for sinking the Rodney, but I had already taken 1 when I damaged the Rodney. So we're only taking 2 extra there. And then the convoy is going to attempt to break away. Unsuccessful. So now the Bismarck and the Prinz Eugen are going to fire. So the Bismarck +4 gets a hit on the convoy, and the Prinz Eugen +2 also scores a hit on the convoy. The convoy can't fire back. That's our third round, so that's the end of this battle. So we're back here now to vie for initiative. +2 to the British roll that time. I forgot to move that tally marker, but +2. So the British are going to take over the initiative from the Germans. As a first step, we will roll for the weather. No change, so the weather stays good. And then we will roll to see what they're doing. Again, there's a +1 because there's at least one convoy in play dispersed. So once again, they're going to get a C result. So we pick the convoy with the smallest trajectory, which is going to be this one. And we are going to attempt to complete. Now, we're not going to be able to, but we're going to take steps towards that, as we've seen before. So we basically turn this convoy into a trajectory, or we do a trajectory action with it. Now, we are going to place an intel marker on top of the contact marker there. We also have an intel marker because he's doing this from a zone with a station. And we're going to create a trajectory that takes us all the way to Gibraltar, which is where this convoy is headed. It's an outbound convoy headed to Gibraltar. Then it is going to do a time lapse because it can't complete. It does have only 6 segments, but it has an intel marker, so it can't complete. So it's going to time lapse. It's good weather, and so its intel limited is 1, so it's only going to remove that trajectory. That does get rid of the intel marker and the contact marker because that trajectory is now off the board. And now with that, initiative passes back to the Germans. So let me roll for weather. Weather is good. So now the Germans are in an interesting position. So I have enough victory points at this point, with 9 hits on the convoy and 2 sunk battleships. I have enough victory points in order to win this scenario. So, in order to finish the scenario, I have to remove one of these rendezvous markers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically, the Bismarck has decided it has been successful enough at sinking shipping, and it is going to sort of begin its process of sort of heading home. Not precisely, or not directly, but I'm going to go for this rendezvous marker only because I don't want to pass that close, or I want a slightly longer trajectory, assuming that this activates. So we're going to, one more. We're going to set up a trajectory that takes us to there. And then we're simply going to time lapse because we are not going to be doing a naval search or engage. So we're simply going to time lapse. So we remove 3 for good weather, and time lapsing, we turn the initiative back over to the British. So we're going to roll for weather, and the weather changes to bad. So we come back and we're rolling on the British action table. +1. Okay, so they're going to do a convoy action again. So this time they're going to select this as a convoy with the fewest segments, and they're going to attempt to complete. So again, we're going to be rolling on the siege initiative. The Germans once again prevent that action, but in bad weather, this convoy will now do a time lapse. In bad weather, so it only removes 1 trajectory segment, and initiative passes back to the Germans. So we roll for the weather one more time. The weather stays bad, and the Germans are simply going to also time lapse. It's going to go quickly for a minute here. Are also going to time lapse, which is going to pass initiative back to the British. We're going to roll for weather again. More convincing roll on that. No, I'm going to keep the 1. Sorry. Oh, no. That's fine. That more convincing roll on that. Sorry, I thought the 1 was better for me. I was thinking that I had just changed it to bad weather, but in fact I've changed it back to good weather. So we're gonna keep. I didn't like the physics on the 1 roll, so we're gonna take that 6 roll. So we're back to good weather, and the British have initiative. So now we're going back to this table, and we'll see again +1 on this roll, and we're getting another convoy result. So this convoy, we know what we're doing here. We're gonna attempt to seize initiative by the Germans. They do not, so this convoy completes. So it comes off the board, and I do get a -1 victory points for a dispersed convoy, a dispersed convoy completing. So I lose a victory point, and with that complete action, the British are going to maintain the initiative because we did that seize initiative and it failed. I will add 1 hour to the German tally. So now the British, I'm sorry, are going to roll on this table one more time to see what they get. Again, we do have +1 because we have a second convoy there that is dispersed. So we get another C result, a lot of C results. So this convoy is now going to attempt to complete. So seize initiative +1. So the Germans are going to seize the initiative. So this convoy will time lapse, but the initiative will return to the Germans, and we'll roll for the weather one more time. That's a 2, so the weather does not change. Now, because I'm starting my turn as a station in a hex with a rendezvous, I go over to the solo scenario booklet and I'm rolling on what's called the fueling table. So I'm going to roll down here. So red die. So I got a 1. I'm going to go check what that is as a result. So this result is not particularly great for me. I remove the rendezvous marker, which probably was going to happen anyway. Then it says new peril. I place a new unidentified British task force in the hex. So we are going to place this task force in the hex. And then I attach a contact marker to the German task force. So grab a German contact marker. And then we vie for initiative. So initiative goes over to the British. We'll end this video here and come back to the game in the next video. If you're enjoying this video, if you're enjoying this series, this channel, it would be great if you could subscribe and hit the notification bell. Doing things like leaving comments, sharing, and liking the video. They all help the videos get found by other people on YouTube, which helps the channel and would be much appreciated. But we will be back in the next video with more of Atlantic Chase.